Welcome back to Polyglots of the Week. No theme this week, so I'm just going to talk about how, first of all, this is my first week back with classes. I'm a sophomore now in college, so, it is my first week studying Chinese again after I left it for a year, so I am going to talk about, picking a language back up again after you've sort of either abandoned it or you've just set it aside for a while because you didn't have time for it before. So, for me, I could not take Chinese last year as a freshman because there wasn't enough space for classes, and but I did take it during high school. I took it for 2 years in high school, but in freshman year I had to drop it because there just wasn't enough space. I had to take the core classes, a lot of really basic classes for freshmen and stuff, so there just wasn't room for that. And I tried to study a little bit on my own, but it's not the same as having a class. So this year as a sophomore I did have a little more space. I could fit it in, so I am taking Chinese again. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of talk about that. I don't know. So first of all, I don't think there is any shame in sort of setting a language aside for a little bit because you don't have time. I mean, if it happens, it happens. You know, you can't always spend all of your time with all of these languages. What's important is to sort of try to keep it alive. So, you know, maybe studying a little bit on your own, or like watching things in the language that you're leaving every once in a while if you can find something. But what's important is to not drop levels. You don't have to continue building too much on top of what you already know, especially if you are planning on taking it later on. But what's important is to not forget what you have already. So if you're taking a language now and you think you might have to leave it later on, or even if you don't think you're going to have to leave it, you never know what might happen. You never know if all of a sudden you just won't have the time anymore. So what you should do is, if you're in a class, if you're taking it in high school or something, keep your notes. Once the class is over, don't throw them away. Keep them. Put them, you can just stuff them somewhere in your basement and just kind of leave it there. But the point is that if you'll need it later on, you can go back and pick it up again. And second, if you have any books and if it's possible for you to keep them as well. And same with the notes, you can just kind of leave it in a corner if you don't need it for a little while, but have it there. Remember where you put it so that you can go back and skim over it again when you want to either study, make sure you're not forgetting, or when you start back up again a year later and you're taking the class again. So, second, if it's been a while and you do get a chance to take the language again, dig up those old resources, or if they're completely gone, get new resources and study them. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. I don't know. But it is important to do things ahead of time, because even if you think, oh, well, I got an A in my class, I'll be fine. All of a sudden, maybe you forgot half of that and you're not at that same level as you were anymore. And if you're taking it at something that's not 101, and you have to make sure that you're still at that level. So, here, what I did was I had to buy this because I wasn't careful and I didn't keep track of where I put this, because this is the same book as in high school, but I lost it, so I had to buy it. Don't do that, you'll waste money. But So I bought this book, and I have been doing some of the exercise inside it. I didn't finish it, but I did do like a lot of, especially the basic stuff, making sure that I still remember how to do all of that. And I think I've been doing pretty well. 1 year's not that long as you do some things in between to try to keep it alive. But yeah, so I've been pretty okay so far. The first day was kind of really intimidating because the professor like asked us to describe our summer in Chinese, and I'm not at that level. I never was. And then like there's just these two girls who have been taking Chinese for like 5 years now and completely described it, and I was like, I'm not at that level. What's going on? But that was just two girls, and the rest of the class is like at my level. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a funny story. Going to the professor, if you are, because in order to get into this class, I had to go to the professor and ensure that I was still at this level, and they can usually tell, like, if they ask you to read something and you're able to read it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you are at this level. That also helps to make sure that you still are at that level, and just continue studying if you know you're gonna go back into it. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think anything I said was really novel. But I don't think anybody on this channel has talked about that yet, about having to leave a language because you just didn't have time for it, which can happen. Especially, like, I don't know, I'm a double major. I have anthropology as the other major, so I don't always have time for languages because languages is not my only passion. It's one of them, but it's not the only one. So, you know, I don't think that there's any shame in it, in having to set aside something for a little while. As long as you know, plan on getting back to it eventually, I think it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. It's getting long enough anyway. Okay. Bye.